Okay.
I'm waiting for the...
He's on.
You ready?
Right.
Okay, I'd like a motion to open the meeting.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, hi everybody, and welcome tonight. So, on the agenda, I'm taking off the IMA Village for New York Rising. As a lot of people know in the community, the town and village both got New York Rising money to the tune of $6 million, and we created a joint committee of the town and the village. And because the town and the village worked together, they're getting $6 million, and there was a committee that was established, and there were a number of projects that were identified. And the very first project that the state wants us to take on is fixing the Wallkill Bridge up on Springtown Road, so there could be emergency access over the Wallkill Bridge to get ambulances and police cars in, and to have the people who get stuck in Springtown Road during the flooding get out. And so we have everything worked out with the state. The town is the lead on the project because it's in the town, and that's what the village actually wanted us to do. So we're working with the state, we're getting all the paperwork done. We just had an RFQ that just got opened on Monday. The recommendation is being vetted by Rosanna, then it'll get vetted by the state, and then it'll come back to us to accept. And then we'll start the CEQA process working with the state, and then hopefully in the spring they'll start fixing the bridge and doing the work. Once that's done and the money is spent, and it's about $350,000 to $400,000, then they plan to start spending the rest of the money pretty quickly on some of the other projects, which might be the sewer hardening for the sewer plant or a new emergency operations center. And there are some other projects on there that the money could go towards. So we have to just do an intermunicipal agreement with the village in terms of us just working together jointly. And so the two attorneys for the village and the town have the IMA that the state sent down. They both wanted to add in some more substantive agreements between the town and the village, and they're working on it. And so it's not ready for tonight, so I'm taking that off the agenda. I'm also going to take off, I'm moving historic records from Huguenot Street to the Ulster County Hall of Records, because that's still being worked on, and so that's coming off tonight. What I want to get on is just a quick thing about the moratorium that the town board approved to get in process on the student dormitory housing, and then just a resolution on the Wallkill River for the project that Mayor West is spearheading on the future of the Wallkill River. So do I have a motion to accept the agenda as amended?
So moved?
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now public input. Would anybody like to speak? If you could just...
Very short. I'm Carol Pryor, a town resident of Plains Road. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. My comment relates to last Wednesday, March 25th meeting regarding the proposed expansion of Water District Number 3 along Southwest Corners Road and the proposed formation of Water District Number 5 along Plains Road. It's unclear to me as to whether Mr. Klauser completed his PowerPoint presentation during that meeting. If he did so, when will this PowerPoint presentation be posted to the town's website? I believe that it's imperative that his presentation be made available to the New Paltz community at large in order to ensure transparency on these two proposals. It's especially important to the New Paltz community at large as we move forward toward a referendum process relating to District 5. Lastly, when will the next informational meeting on the proposed water district be held? Will that meeting be open to the New Paltz community at large? Excuse me, or limited to only those affected in Districts 3 and 5? Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Carol.
Does anybody else want to speak?
Hi, good evening. Thanks for this opportunity. I'm Ted Pryor, also a resident of Plains Road. That's my wife.
Hey, Ted.
I just wanted to say that thanks for all the time you've given us talking about our water concerns in Plains Road and all. But I hope you don't lose focus like maybe we do sometimes. That the issue here is not Plains Road. The wells fail that we think the hours and all that. If any of that happens, the real issue is going to be the village loses their water, the college loses their water, and that's going to be a big problem. Plain growth's not going to matter to anybody who really that matters. So just don't lose focus of where the real impact of the community, the college is going to be, even when we get up here after you so long. That's part of our agenda also. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Ed.
Is there anybody else who'd like to speak?
Hi, Steve Greenfield from Town of New Paltz. As always, speaking only for myself, not to be associated with anything else I might do with my time. I have a couple of small matters and questions about them. Two things. First of all, I noticed that we have $6,000 being expended for the position of social services officer. I believe in years past that's been split, 4,000 to the supervisor and 2,000 to the supervisor's secretary. I'm not sure that's being split right now as well, 6,000 to the supervisor if it's divided in some other way. But what I do know is that due to action by the county, there's no longer any actual responsibility in those positions. And so I'm wondering when the $6,000 is going to be returned to the Treasury, since it's allocated and being received, but the work isn't being done, it's been taken over by the county. So I hope that can be taken care of quickly. Another thing that has caught my attention this week is that ever since the bond passed for the renovation of the school buildings, I have actually been tasked as chairman of the facilities committee with doing some research to see if we have any cost-saving alternatives to actually demolishing the old blue building that was the district office that's been out of use for many years. Another board member wondered if any other business or entity of any kind might have use for the building. I know that the town hall is not settled on yet at this time, and that process is still being researched, so it occurred to me that I should possibly call Josh Honig and start a discussion about that underway. But then I noticed that our town ethics law, 1515C, says that in addition, no elected official or chairperson of any town committee, commission, or board shall hold office in any political party, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And made it seem to me that it's not actually legal for Josh to hold that position, so I decided to hold off and wait until I could get some clarity on that, or if that position needs to be reassigned to somebody else. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Anybody else want to speak? Can you please have a conversation outside, Josh and Steve, not here?
Just quickly regarding the agenda for tonight, I have a meeting to be at 9, so I was wondering if you think we'll get through everything before.
You didn't have to get up for public comment to actually ask that, but that's okay.
No.
I was going to put you up pretty, I was going to move you up pretty
Okay,
to the
that's
beginning,
fine.
so
Yeah, just,
not a problem.
As long as I can get back to my...
Yeah, no, I knew, I mean,
Yeah.
since you're here, I was going to let you come up first so we can, you know, take care of what you need, then we can do some business, and then we have some serious executive session material to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a couple of announcements, but let me just add, just very quickly. We did put everything up on the website. We spent a lot of time and energy getting that website together because, and we put everything up. We'll even have a special section just on, the water district situation. It's just that we had the meeting Thursday night, and then the next day my assistant, she had already left to go to Florida. She's gone for the week, so as soon as she comes back, she will be uploading whatever we have to put up. So that's the only reason it's not there, is just because she's not here to do it. But we do put everything up, and we want everything. And just, and in terms of, yes, there will be more meetings. There'll be a lot more meetings. And the future, assuming we keep moving forward with the project, there'll be more meetings. And of course, it will be open to the entire community, because if we move down the road we're going right now for the moment, the first potential referendum is the whole entire community, and so the whole community has to vote on it, and so therefore everybody needs to understand. And I appreciate what you said about the impact on your water, and we really do take it seriously. On the other hand, what we're also trying to deal with is the fact of the community, the college, the school district, the town, the village being left without water. And so all we're trying to do is struggle to figure out how we make sure in 22 months the community has water. And we are having many, many meetings trying to figure this out, figure out which is the right way to go, understanding the impact on you guys, and in some ways the unfairness of you guys being the shoulders that are solving the problem for the entire community. But it's a real big issue, it's a real big problem. We take it really serious, and we take your needs really serious, but we also are trying to balance, and just as a quick aside, I mean, we have sort of talked about the fact of this is really a village problem, it's not our problem, and why are we even getting involved? But the truth is, the village residents are town residents, and even though they have another government, we still are elected by them and responsible for representing them. And then the town side, the village residents, there's 700, they get water from the village. So unfortunately, we have an obligation to somewhat make sure that the community's needs get met. And trust me, we'd rather not be involved because it's not necessarily fun, and this is pretty hard. But yes, there'll be many more meetings, there'll be many more stakeholders brought in, and this is not an easy task, but we're trying to balance everything. So I just, I can't make you feel totally confident. I can only say we're doing the best that we can, and we understand that in 22 months there might not be water in this community, and we can't let that happen. So that's what we're trying to sort of balance and stuff. And we're going to make this if we continue to move forward, this is going to have to be a lot more stakeholders, because it can't be on Jeff's shoulders to try to carry the weight of this, and me standing behind him pushing Jeff and saying, keep going. Whether it's going to be the college that has to get involved, the school district has to get involved, because the middle school will be without water. The DEC will be out with water. The DEC will be without water. The fire department won't have water to basically take care of fires. So, Woodland Pond won't have water. So it's a really serious issue that, should have been addressed for the past 10 years. Unfortunately, it hasn't been. And so we're just trying to do what we can. But yes, we will definitely continue to be involved. We wanted that last meeting to be for you guys because you're the biggest stakeholders. But at this point, if this project is going to move forward, the whole entire community has to get involved. And if the community doesn't want to get involved, then I don't know what we're doing. So, we'll keep trying, and you'll keep getting informed, and, that's what we'll do. So, and the stuff will be up. Carol should be back early next week, and as soon as she gets back, one of the first things she'll do is put up that presentation. Okay?
So, yeah, and Ted and Carol, please, definitely understand us that, even as late as 2013, our village board, and I say ours because the village is part of the town, were actually still fighting our supervisor over becoming involved. So, you and I, you're my neighbors. I know where we live. You guys know where I live. We're part of the solution here. If it works out for us, it's going to be bad. There's no water available to the village. I'm with you. But these are things that should have been addressed. Please, I encourage you, go and ask the current sitting village board. Most of them that are there now, in fact, I believe all of them that are there now, were sitting there back when they were first made aware of this. They were there in 2013 when they were quoted as saying, I am very upset that Suzanne Zimmett is getting involved in this. Well, I don't know what they were upset about. It's the only thing that's moved forward. We know this is going at a very quick pace, and we're doing everything. Even as today, I sat in meetings for a few hours today with attorneys and engineers trying to figure out how is this the only way to go, and can we make this work? And right now, this is the best solution. This is the best solution that we have. And we're going to keep having meetings, and the reason I'm going to keep doing mailings to individual in Plains Road and that part of the district. There's Locust and Schwangunk. Those are all the roads involved. So I'll keep mailing them. But the last one was open to the community too. We made a public announcement. We put it in the paper. We'll continue to make public announcements on them. They won't be regular board meetings because we may or may not have a quorum there. But we certainly will, announce them. We'll have as many board members as available. I certainly hope the village becomes more involved. I was a little disheartened that none of the village members showed up. Their village board meeting ended prior to our meeting ended. And the only one to show up was one of the candidates showed up. I think that was nice of her to show up to see what we were doing. But I really do, as Susan just said, we need SUNY to show up for these. We need to see what the New Paltz School District wants to do, because they will be without water. There's not a solution right now. So I really do appreciate your patience, and Ted, you're not falling on deaf ears here. I totally understand what you're saying. I'm with you, and it's fallen upon.
We get our blunders on
Yeah.
amongst our group, just us, and we need to say, hopefully you don't make the same mistake, because the issue is really big.
And
Well, I mean,
I sent the letter into the paper. If you get a chance to read it, it is. This is an issue where we really need to help our neighbors and help everybody. And this is, according to many engineers, to hydrogeologists, to geologists, this is the solution out of this. And this is a solution that can help us all bring in some infrastructure to part of our community. But again, as Susan said, we're still talking about it, and in fact, we even arranged for some more meetings. I have other responsibilities too in my life, and Susan will actually be doing some of the meetings next week for me because I just can't get it off. But we will also be meeting. So yeah, as
But I just to, wrap this up and stuff, but to just let you know, there was a meeting today with myself and Jeff and the town attorney and the town engineer, and again, the conversation was, is there any other way? Is there a way to bypass Plains Road? Is there another way to engineer this in a sense to, get water to the community, not leave the community without water, but without burdening the Plains Road people? And it's not just even burdening you, it's also spending a lot of time and energy and money going down a path, and then if you guys end up voting it down, then we've just lost another 2 months, so now we have 19 months to get water, and it's going to make it that much harder for the DEP to figure this out. So, we're just knocking our heads trying to figure out what is the solution. And unfortunately, we didn't get involved until, again, last year. The conversation's been going on for 9 years with the village. So yes, we are up against a brick wall, but we have to have a solution. And what it is, I don't know, but we're trying. So I just want you to know that we're not just barreling ahead with what's on the table. We're trying to find alternative solutions. I don't know if there will be, but at another point, the whole community has to come together and really understand what we're up against. And I don't think people do. I don't think people realize it. They just think everybody's taking care of it, and nobody's taking care of it. It's a really, really big issue, and the whole community's going to have to face up to what's really going on. And we're going to either all sing together or all together, but we've got to figure out an answer because we can't be without water, and we can't come up with a solution that's going to cost the taxpayers an incredible amount of money to pay for the water that could potentially get trucked in. So anyway, we'll move on, but we'll keep you informed. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming.
Quick thing on that too, as we move forward with this process and we have more forums for the community, I really would think it would be great if we could film those as well for public access.
We can discuss it, sure. Okay, so there's a couple of announcements. The rabies clinic with Dr. Lori Stein, April 29th, which is a Wednesday, 4 to 6 p.m. at the Highway Garage. Only the first 30 people online will be accepted. Okay, the next announcement is, once again, our wonderful recycling center is always doing great stuff. Recycle your clothes and textiles. Donate, recycle, don't throw away. And the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, the Ulster County Resource Recovery Agency, the town of New Paltz invite you to donate, recycle, and don't throw away. New York State residents trash over 1.4 billion pounds of clothes and textiles annually, with a market value exceeding $200 million, plus another $36 million in cost to dispose of these recoverable materials. Why don't you donate recycling clothes? Your green efforts help the environment and everyone saves money. So, we're asking you to donate and recycle your clothes and textiles on Saturday, April 25th, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the town of New Paltz Village Hall, located at 25 Platteville Avenue in New Paltz. They will be accepting all used clothing, footwear, household textiles, items such as shirts, pants, sheets, curtains, handbags, belts, and footwear. Any textile, even if it's worn, torn, or stained, can be recycled as long as it's clean and dry. They will not accept carpets, rugs, mattresses, bric-a-brac, oil rags, wet or mildewed items. And that's Saturday, April 25th from 9 to 12 at Village Hall. And then the town of New Paltz Highway Department Spring Brush Cleanup. We're one of the only towns left in the entire area that is still doing spring brush cleanup. The town of New Paltz Highway Department will be holding its annual spring cleanup starting Monday, April 27th. Brush should be placed with the thickest end facing the road, thickest end facing the road, and placed in a uniform pile. We will also pick up leaves bagged in paper biodegradable bags. Biodegradable bags are still available at the Highway Garage. Due to the emerald ash borer beetle problem with the ash trees, any ash wood must be put into a separate pile and be chipped on site and then removed from site. If any help is needed in identifying ash wood, please call the Highway Department for assistance. All brush and bagged leaves must be placed out on April 27th to ensure pickup. Please be aware that the Highway Department will be not scheduling individually called pickups, as all road within the towns will be serviced. Does anybody else have any other announcements?
I have one announcement, but I feel bad I have nothing to read from, so I will pretend. On April 8th, we will have the second Carmine-Laberta Bridge community meeting. It will be at 1 o'clock right here in this very room, the New Paltz Community Center. and it will be again chaired by Dennis Doyle, Chairman of the Ulster County Planning Board. And again, 1 o'clock, all are welcome. And again, this is a meeting to discuss the Carmine-Liberta Bridge, its rebuilding, its taking down, and the schedule, and any ideas from the community.
That's great. And then just one other quick thing. Due to a very tragic incident that's happened to a town hall employee, town hall will be closed on Tuesday from 10 to 3 to allow all the town hall employees and town employees to attend the funeral service. So 10 to 3 next Tuesday, we will be closed. So with that, why don't we invite Jesse up to present to us. So Jesse is a student from the college. And, the college is interested in doing some type of police commission concept. And because the town has a police commission, although our police commission is dictated by town law, Jesse wanted to present to us some ideas and get some input from us. So Jesse, why don't you bring up a chair and come speak with us?
Cool. Where should
You can probably just come right here if you want.
Okay.
Yeah, that might be easier than to be on
Yeah.
camera. Would it be possible to borrow a computer so I could just pull up?
Sure.
Sure
It's
can.
one computer, Jeff's willing.
Yeah, awesome.
Absolutely, it's all yours. There you go. I'm sorry, I could have given you the password too. That's okay. Oh, come on. Okay. There you go, sir.
Thank you.
You are very welcome.
Should have saved announcements for now.
Come around.
Also,
We're trying to do a donation, so we're trying to collect from everybody like us and donate to buy food. Appreciate it. It's good with the community extension and we'll try to defray some costs and stuff. Yep.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, thanks. Just setting up the board for money for a collection.
Okay. My name is Jesse Ginsberg. I'm the Executive Vice President of Student Association here at the college. I'm a senior. I'm a double major in political science and black studies with minors in history and Jewish studies. I'm here to present about possible police oversight committee. This is something that I, in particular, but all of Student Association, has been working and advocating for this year, and we wanted to come to the town and possibly get support. So before I talk about the police oversight committee or the commission, I just wanted to start with talking about some of the structural issues that we have with the University Police Department. And by structural, I mean the institutional framework that that determines how police conduct and policing procedures are created, established on campus. So, as of now, the New Paltz community functions strictly as an advisory body to the University Police Department. So students, faculty, and staff may request to go speak with the police chief at any time and voice concerns, but it is entirely within the discretion of the police chief to adopt those concerns or to not adopt those concerns. So that's one structural issue we see because the community has no input other than strictly advisement as to how we are being protected and how our safety is being ensured on campus. Another structural issue worth addressing is internal investigations. And this is something that UPD has commonly, they have internal investigations, and the issue with internal investigations is that there is no room for police accountability. The police department will conduct an internal investigation. There's no accountability to ensure that the investigation is done thoroughly and properly. There is no disclosure as to how the police department is going about change or reform within their department. So that's another structural issue. So another structural issue we have is that there's no impartial body to address concerns of misconduct by UPD. So, and that can involve harassment, targeting, racial profiling, or any kind of profiling by police. So UPD, as of now, is the only outlet in which students, or faculty for that matter, may voice concerns about the misconduct of UPD. So that's another structural issue that students see as problematic. This is also heightened because many students who feel that they are victims or targets of police misconduct do not feel comfortable going to UPD to complain about an issue that they have with UPD. So from students' perspective, that's another structural issue that we have. So some brief reasons why there is a need for the Police Oversight Committee before I get into what Student Association has presented as proposed powers of the Police Oversight Committee. The reasons for the Police Oversight Committee involve shared governance and community influence over policing. Another reason is for the outlet for students to express grievances and concerns with UPD, other than UPD themselves, and to increase accountability. So the legislative body of Student Association, Student Senate, has passed a resolution calling for a police oversight committee, and they called for a committee of 3 students, 2 faculty, and 2 staff members. So the proposed powers of this police oversight committee is, the first one is to hear grievances from students. So students would be able to go to this committee and voice and file any grievances that they have with UPD. The second power that they have is to require oral or written reports from the University Police Department regarding an internal investigation. So this information would be kept completely confidential. Only members on the committee would be aware of the progress of an internal investigation. But the committee would have the power to require oral or written reports on for updates on the progress of an internal investigation within UPD. The third power is they have the power to conduct their own investigation, we anticipate that they would conduct their own investigations when they are not satisfied with the University Police Department's investigation. So they have that power. Another power is they have no enforcement with this, but they can recommend disciplinary actions for UPD officers. So like I said, they would have no enforcement. They wouldn't be able to fire police officers or anything like that, but simply to recommend, based upon their investigation or updates from UPD's investigation, they would be able to recommend to the police chief what possible disciplinary action would be. Those first four powers are based upon templates from the University of Michigan. I've been in contact with members of the Police Oversight Committee at University of Michigan, and those are the powers they have there. The people I talked to on the committee like the committee, think it's very effective, and they say that they have a really good relationship with the police department on campus there. Two other provisions we added in that are not on the University of Michigan template, but we find important, are also recommendations. So we say that, or we called for the Oversight Committee to be able to make recommendations regarding the annual budget for the police department and make recommendations regarding policing priorities. Again, those are strictly recommendations. So now I'm going to kind of address head on how some of the problems and then how this committee would provide the solutions to some of these structural issues. So the first one, students not feeling comfortable confronting UPD directly. This committee would provide students an additional outlet to file a grievance. That's number one. Number two, the internal investigations, no accountability, and the committee would, in essence, be monitoring a UPD investigation, which would lead to accountability. As of now, the campus has no medium to express communal concern. So essentially, there is a UPD committee on campus, which I chair, which is students that get together and talk about possible police reform and how we can make the campus better regarding policing. But this is not a body that regularly has the ability to understand what the campus it doesn't have the ability to understand campus concerns. So this committee would be representative members of the campus community to maintain that would maintain contact with the police department and recommend budget and or make recommendations regarding the budget and policy. So I have a few printed out here. So this is let me just pass them down. So this is an incident that that we as students had with the University Police Department on campus. I mean, I guess I have one, y'all can pass it around if you would like. But this details some of the lack of accountability that okay, so just to be clear, I am the liaison from students to the University Police Department on campus. I regularly meet with Police Chief Dugakin. So this was one experience we had, students had, and in particular I had, with the police chief and with
Just we have to move it along.
okay, sorry, yeah, I'm almost done. So this just kind of outlines one of the issues we've had with the police chief, and we feel that if there was this committee, this police oversight committee, there would have been much more accountability regarding the incident, regarding the issue, and this is just a historical example of what went wrong and what we think would have gone differently if this committee had been implemented. So with that, thank you.
Thank you.
So a quick question, where are you at? I know the Student Association voted to move forward with making a recommendation to create a somewhat type of oversight committee.
Correct.
And so where does the Student Association go with this?
Okay, so essentially we are going to be, the president of the college has been asked questions about this, kind of informally, more or less informally. We are planning on bringing it up with the next, at the next press-cad meeting. So we have that, and we plan on talking to them there. We're also bringing the resolution to SUNY Assembly, which is student representatives from all the student governments within the SUNY system, and we plan on trying to get them to pass a resolution about the police oversight committee too. We will see how that goes. So.
What do you, and I really appreciate you updating about us about this, but what are you hoping that we can help you with, or are you just coming to just inform us about this? Is there anything you were looking from us for?
I mean, I think that's up to you. I mean, a possible, declaration or resolution claiming support for the committee. With that, that might be beneficial. We're asking the village board to do that, so. Yeah.
Well, I think we have to have a little bit of a conversation about that in a sense, and and I do want to discuss it. I mean, I want to talk to you about this stuff, and the town board a long time ago did create a police commission for the select purpose of creating an independent group that residents could come to if they felt uncomfortable going directly to the police, and that's why we created a commission. For that reason, you're trying to sort of go a little bit broader in a sense, and then of course, once we created a commission, it's guided by state law, so it ends up being even that much more powerful. So I do want to have the board talk about it before we actually just adopt it. I mean, I think it's a little bit more in terms of a conversation.
Sure.
I don't want to cut you off and say that we can't talk about it now. It's just my only concern is Kevin hasn't been well at all, and Kevin hasn't been at work, and we have some serious executive session stuff for personnel that we have to talk about. So I just don't want to lose Kevin tonight.
That's fine.
So, I mean, we can put this on for further discussion. Hopefully will be at Town Gown next Wednesday.
Okay.
And I don't know if you're bringing it up to Town Gown, and maybe we could put that on the agenda for Town Gown also, to have a conversation. I have some ideas, and I'd like to, I would like to talk about it in a sense, but I'm just concerned that Kevin's going to leave us before we have to make a really serious decision on a very serious matter that's taking place with our courts. So,
Sure.
That's
do you want to?
fine. And if you are interested in the town looking at a resolution, maybe you could submit one in draft form.
I think I did I send you?
I don't know if you sent an
Okay,
actual
I
resolution.
can send it again. Would it be best to send it to you or all?
Send it to,
You can send it to all of
send it
us.
to all of us,
Okay.
send it to Susan.
I mean, there's some
And then
things that I'm sorry, Dan, go ahead.
And also, like you discussed, it sounds like you have bylaws that would establish this committee as well.
Procedures?
Procedures.
Yeah.
If you could send that to us as well,
Sure.
just so we can see the differences.
Sure.
And,
I mean, I did try to put this on the agenda after the last, we had a police commission meeting, so I had wanted Jesse to come when we had the police commission meeting, then the chief would be here so we could discuss it, because, the chief, I did talk to the chief about it, and followed up after you had the conversation with me, and again, one of the things that I had said to you in the conversation when you were updating me on this is, I think there are certain things that are very feasible and very able to be done, but I think there's certain things that you're requesting that you'll never, having oversight over internal investigations. I'm not quite sure the police department is going to agree to do that, and so, that's why I wanted to have the meeting when the chief was here, and, but unfortunately it was spring break.
Right.
So we
That
might be
was
able to have you come
unfortunate
back
time.
when we have our next police commission meeting, so we could,
Sure.
follow through. So it's not that I don't think we're adverse to supporting the students having some kind of committee that makes them feel comfortable, so their concerns are heard. We've done the same thing for the town. It's just there's a lot of things that you've delineated, and some I think are feasible, and some I think are just not possible. you know, so it's a longer conversation, and I just don't want to lose Kevin because he's looking bad again.
Okay.
So maybe I can have you put you on the agenda when we have the next police commission meeting,
Sure.
which will be in 2 or 3 weeks, if that's okay with the board.
Fine.
Is that okay?
Yep.
Then if you can, in the interim, maybe send the presentation, and then all
Yeah,
the board
sure.
members could look at things, and then we
That'd
could,
PowerPoint.
you know, and then send the PowerPoint, and I could also then look at it with the chief a little bit, and, you know, we could sort of see what we as a town could feel comfortable in terms of supporting without overstepping our boundaries, you know. It'd be irresponsible for us to support something that we know is not gonna be potentially realistic or whatever, so, you know, let us look at it, let us vet it, and then we'll just talk, and we'll just keep talking about it. If
Okay.
that's okay?
Yeah, that sounds
Okay.
good.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Thanks,
very
thank you
much.
so much.
Jesse.
Thank
Appreciate it very
Thank
much.
you, Jesse.
Kevin, sorry to not look
Thanks,
good again.
Jesse.
So, just because you can't leave till we do a couple of things, so let me ask a question. First, the most important thing we have to do is the DocuWare for this amazing system, but because we have to give up some of our copy machines and get some others coming, I need the board to authorize a prepay of $737.54.
Leave right there, Jesse, I'll take it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I'm
leave
so
it there.
sorry.
Thanks. No, thank you, Jesse.
$737.54, and it's a buyout for the machines that we have now. By doing this, we'll be able to get a release form from the company, from the USA Bank that's holding the lease on the copiers, and then the new company will come and pick those copiers up and bring the copiers where they belong for us instead of having to
So
worry about
moved.
it.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion so carried. I also want to note that Councilman Barry, when we were doing the negotiation on this project, Councilman Barry always requests that we go back and try to get an additional discount. And because of Councilman Barry's request once more, we actually got them to come down $2,700 because of Kevin demanding that we go back and try to negotiate more savings. So $2,700, thank you, Councilman Barry, once again,
Thank
for
you,
saving the town money. Okay, so, so that's that we needed to do, that was that prepaid. I think that's the only prepaid. And Rosanna, I was asked by Stacy to give this to you, so you can give this to her in the morning, okay, so she can take care of the paperwork and getting it to them. Okay, in terms of some of the other things that we have to do,
Something for Chris?
is we what?
Anything for Chris?
The
We have stuff for
284.
Chris, but if you, depending on how you feel, Kevin, if you have time for us to go through a couple of this stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, so Chris, do you want to come in, talk to us quickly about the 284, the water bill, and the Kirby vacuum?
Which one you want first?
Yes,
Why don't we do the 284, because that's probably the most important.
284 is the
Well,
biggest.
actually, the Kirby's pretty important. Go ahead, Jesse.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse.
Okay, well, the 280 form, as you know, is the expenditures of highway money for road repair that has to be done. It's usually done in January. We try and wait till we get the CHIPS report in before we do it. Just so happens I got the CHIPS report in today before I left. We'll probably be amending this since we wound up getting $44,000 more dollars than was expected.
They actually,
And our
the
CHIPS.
governor's budget increased CHIPS funding, and you were worried they were going to take it out, and I told you
Which
that wouldn't happen.
it went up and down twice in the negotiations, and they left something out in the negotiation, which actually made the CHIPS funds go up even higher. So, we used to get 118,000, we were told they were knocking us back down to 90,000. They gave us back the 118 and another 16,000 on top of that because of the poor winter. So,
That's great.
they were
Good.
doing good.
Mhm. Well, we're doing okay, because we spent a lot of money this winter, we still have next winter, we still have winter to come.
Yes, but there's still a little bit left in the winter budget, so we're
Just a little, but we still have November, December of this year.
not gonna snow anymore, trust me. So just in general, the roads to be done will be the finishing of Old Kingston Road, Cherry Hill, we'll be doing Van Cleek, including Budge Street, South Mountain, North Mountain, and on Hawk Hill, we'll be resurfacing that with a micro seal. Because of the extra money, once we get through that, we'll take a look at our numbers. I'll put an amendment in front of the board for whatever other roads we decide that we'll spend the CHIPS money on.
Okay, great. So you need us to make a motion to accept the 284 agreement as
Yes,
delineated by the highway superintendent.
and there should be a signature sheet.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second, or Kevin seconded?
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion is so carried. So I don't actually have, Chris, the 284 form. I only have the cover sheet that tells me what you needed.
Okay, it was-
So we can,
I submitted it to Carol, and it should have been in a packet.
okay, it might be on her desk. She might not have put it in with this stuff. She just put in what we needed, so we can check tomorrow. Okay, so, but we have it and I'll sign it. And we did a vote?
Mhm.
Do you a vote?
Yeah, all in favor?
Yep.
Okay. You want to quickly tell us about this water bill?
We've had a ongoing issue with a resident about a water bill. Her bill's been pretty regular through most of the billing cycles. One cycle it did jump up quite a bit. The next cycle, which we just did now, went back to normal. Spoken to the lady many a time, went in, inspected the equipment, everything seems to be right. And the fact that the water meter has gone back to normal usage seems to point out to everybody that there was a leak within the home. You know, a leak could be anything from the toilet valve leaking. The lady is not there all the time. She does have a handyman who checks it. Sometimes these things are undetectable. She has asked for some kind of lenience on the bill. As the water commissioner, that's not within my privy to do so. And I explained that to her, and she did ask for a board decision on it. I did present the letters that I've given to her. I took my knowledge of the meters and I went above that, asking people from the village who've been doing it a lot longer than I have, their opinions, and giving them the facts and figures we've had, and we've all agreed that for that 3-month period that there must have been a leak.
So Chris, as we've done in the past, and these have been coming before, I think Susan's done these for years, and I've done them for years, is in the past, we've always, we cannot forgive a water bill, since that is not legal. It's giving away of public funds and the water was used, so does she need, would it assist her if we made payment arrangements for her?
Well, that would be a recommendation that she could make payments. I did tell her that there would be no late charges through, because we wanted to investigate this and really, make sure that we didn't have an issue with any of the equipment. Understanding that, and we have submitted a grant for this, and I've asked for it. Our water equipment is so outdated, it's not even funny. A water meter typically loses 1% a year. Water meters slow down, they do not speed up. Most of our meters are over 20 years old. You're losing 20% of your water revenue every year for faulty equipment. Unless you go and replace these. We've looked into replacing with a piggyback system like the village uses. Understanding the system, the auto read meters, is it takes us a week to read meters now. It'd probably take me about an hour to read meters, the way they are. Also, once a month we can drive within the areas, push a button, and the computer will read the meters in that area and then tally that water use against their last water use. If the usage is up, you'll get a red light on the computer. You know that there's a possible problem. Whether the resident has a leak or is using more water, maybe they have friends over, relatives, which has happened. We knock on the door, look, I think you're having a problem. Instead of all of a sudden they're getting a bill a quarter going, what happened? It's the way things are done. This is the way for the future. It's been working for the village for a long time. We did submit a grant for it. It's over $200,000 to retrofit over 400 meters. Yeah.
What kind of, so you're saying that we're losing 20% now, what does that equate to?
I honestly haven't figured it out in dollars.
I was just wondering if it's something that if we paid for, that it quickly pays itself off, or it's a longer
The
investment?
problem is you have to charge it to the water districts and sewer districts, and it could be a pretty hefty charge in terms of having to increase the water rates to
It is-
compensate.
It's different, so we're so much
We're trying to get-
usage,
so
the
we're trying
bill
to
is
get a
different.
grant.
and we have
Sure.
a step system, so each, different zones are different, so it's, and without really knowing what it's an average.
Okay, so we're gonna have to have a little conversation about this. We're trying to go for a grant. I'm just trying to move it along because I don't want to lose
Okay,
Kevin.
so I'm just
So-
giving you a little
so
background
can we,
what we're
Yeah,
trying to
so
do.
we are trying to do a
So
grant
let's
for the-
approve we'll approve a payment plan
Yeah.
for the customer. Roseanne, what has traditionally been done? I know we've done it, and we're back in the past, we did it through your office.
What's the amount?
Usually the town board approves the customer to pay over a 6-month period with no late fees or finance charges.
Okay,
So moved.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The motion's are carried.
Thank you.
Okay, so.
Thank you, Chris. Thanks for
Thanks
doing
a
all that
lot.
work on
I know
it, too.
you're doing
I
a
saw
lot.
the packet in our mailbox and read through it, so thank you.
Okay, so,
It was a lot.
now that we're in our temporary town hall, and now that we have carpet throughout the whole temporary town hall, the vacuum that we used to have is not able to clean the building, and it's backing up with dust and all sorts of other things, and we need a new vacuum cleaner, right?
Basically, we've burned up 3 so far.
Since we've
Been there. And we're, when they say commercial, and every place we bought, commercial is, well, maybe you've got an extra dog in your house and just isn't doing it. We're cooking these things faster than we can buy them. That's why we've been looking for a Kirby for a long time. Owning one myself and knowing that's a pretty good industry standard, we believe this will last us the longest. They're not the cheapest, and yes, Kevin, I did banter around on the price quite a bit.
So what do you need?
We were up around $1,500, and we're down under 1,000 now.
We're up at 1,500, we're down at 995, so I think that's bantering pretty well.
You
So-
making motions?
Yeah, I'll make a motion
Second.
to,
Kevin, second?
995 from the building and grounds contractual expense. So I have a motion and I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Discussion?
Just understand, remember, the old town hall didn't have very many rugs. The new town hall's all rug, so it's every room,
It's
every day.
6,000 square feet of rug that gets vacuumed every single solitary day. And,
Thank you, Chris.
So it's, we're trying to keep the place as clean as we can so people don't get sick again. Okay, great, thanks, Chris, very much. Okay, so just real quick, George Lakeville sent me this today, and if you remember correctly, we did a moratorium that we forwarded to the village, to the planning board, and there was a moratorium on dormitory student housing, and so it was referred to the planning board, and George talked to Dennis Doyle, and the county planning board reviewed the proposed moratorium law last night and did not have any binding comments. In conversation with Dennis Doyle yesterday, he noted that SUNY has expressed its intent to continue to work to address its perceived need for off-campus housing opportunities for its students. Given that the town, the broader New Paltz community, and the college all seem to have a common interest in reasonable and feasible solutions to student housing needs, the town may want to convene a stakeholder group during the moratorium period to inform and assist the planning board in making its report and recommendations to the town board on the potential impacts and mitigation measures that should be addressed when considering dormitory projects. Assuming that would act only as an informal advisory group, it would not appear that formal action by the town board is required. The town board may wish to follow its past practice with such groups and/or nominate a member of the board and its representative. For ease of reference, I've excerpted below the purpose and the planning board charge from the resolution adopted on March 19th. And the part that he highlighted was, whereas a moratorium is a stopgap measure intended to preserve the status quo until the town has an opportunity for the planning board to study those issues provided to the town board with its report and recommendations on whether and how the comprehensive plan and the planning and zoning regulations should be amended to avoid, minimize, or mitigate the potential impact of dormitory projects on the town of New Paltz, and how to promote community planning values and maintain the community character of the town by regulating land development based on careful considered plan. So what George was suggesting, he goes, it's recommended as to how such uses should be regulated to allow development that provide housing for students while avoiding or minimizing the adverse impacts of such housing, including the need for increased community services, the potential loss of tax revenue, and the concentration of such uses in any one area, with the potential for increased parking, noise, and other secondary effects that would adversely affect the character of surrounding areas of the town of New Paltz. And that was why we did the moratorium, so we could study how to move forward with student dormitory housing without the adverse impacts on the community from a tax perspective and our emergency services. So what George was suggesting is that there was a committee put together through the planning board, and that we would want to reach out to the college and invite the college to participate in this, because they're the ones who need the student housing, but the community is the one who's being impacted. And so if the college is invested in the zoning law we're going to come out with, maybe we can come out with something that works for the college and the community, and we could hopefully not go through what we just went through at the expense and cost and wear and tear on the community of this former Wilmerite project. So I don't think we really have to take any action, but George had asked that I bring this to the board tonight and discuss it, and if everybody's somewhat in agreement, I'll convey to George that he should tell the planning board to create the committee, to invite people from the college.
He thought Dennis Doyle might share it.
Dennis Doyle might share it? Okay, so if Dennis can share it, we'll invite people from the college. I don't know if anybody from the board wants to, sit on this committee if it gets, convened. So one of you could get back to me. I know, Jeff, you go to almost all the planning board meetings anyway. So I don't know if you're going to want to speak. You're so loaded with time right now.
Yeah, maybe.
So.
I think it's I'm very pleased, though, to see that the county came back without any binding comments. I think
Great. Yeah.
Kevin, it's.
Okay, so if
I
everybody's.
think that speaks a lot that the county,
Agrees with what we're trying to do.
that the county understands.
The impact of student housing
So
on our
part
community.
of the county does.
Part of the county does.
What part doesn't?
IDA.
The IDA.
IDA does not agree.
Okay. So anyway, so with that, if everybody's in agreement, we'll just move forward, and I'll tell that to George. Okay.
Can I do one real quick, too?
Sure.
So I'll do it, I'll break in. The Farmers Market Community Center.
Yes, well, that's on the agenda.
Oh, I saw it on there, yep. So I
Yes,
thought,
okay.
you had,
Go ahead.
Mark Colucci has been running the Winter Farmers Market. He reached out to me. They have been traditionally meeting down in the parking lot owned by Rich Gottlieb of Rock and Snow. Rich Gottlieb got his building permits, so he'll be breaking ground this year. So he will not be able to provide his lot as he has for several years. So they reached out for another area. They had hoped they could use our parking lot here. It says community center, but actually they do understand there are things going on at the community center, so they're even actually happy with the town hall parking lot. So they'd like to use the town hall parking lot on Sundays throughout the summer. And I did check, they are covered by the same insurance that they've been covered by. Their vendors are all required to have insurance, and I spoke to Bob Stubbs, and he said that would be fine.
So moved.
Okay, so Kevin, you're moving, allowing the farmer's market to happen at the community center.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion so carried. Real quickly, that as everybody knows, our mayor has taken a lead in trying to clean up the Walker River, and there's going to be an event, The Future of the Walker River, Thursday, April 23rd, at SUNY Newport Student Union Building from 4 to 8 p.m. And support the restoration of the Walker, help define a vision for the river's future, take action to achieve that vision, come learn and share your own ideas. You do have to register at surveymonkey.com/S8VRH9R7. And the event registration fee is $10. Do a check-in on the day. So there is a resolution. I can read the whole thing, but I think nobody on this board would not support the village of New Paltz participating in the future of the Walker River to engage our region, improve the lower Walker watershed. Would you like me to read this quickly, or?
Can I just do the result?
Yeah, well, the result is, it's basically saying where the Walker begins, the watershed includes a number of unique features. Then, whereas SUNY New Paltz Center for Research, Regional Education and Outreach, River Keeper, the Hudson River Watershed Alliance, Mohawk Consultations, the Town of New Paltz Clean Water and Open Space Protection Commission, the Village of New Paltz, and numerous citizens residing in the northern Walker watershed have organized an event focused on the future of the Walker River to take place at, and what we're being asked for is for the town to sponsor, to be also a sponsor of this event. So, do you want to move it down?
So moved.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion so carried. Okay, and so just real quick before we have to go into executive session, we have the concessionaire contract for the pool, and Teresa Dones, who's been running the concession at the pool, they gave us our application, gave us her menu. It's the same contract, and she's been doing it for years. It works out. People like her food. So I'd like to move that we award the operation of the food concession at Memorial Pool to concessionaire Teresa Dones for May 24th, 2014 to September 1st, 2014.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Motion so carried. We got that done
Aye.
early this year, finally. Court officer, we have to appoint James Gatto. The New Paltz Court would like to request that James Gatto be removed from employment as a court officer. He hasn't really been, on one or two separate occasions, he's taken unscheduled indefinite leaves of absence with only verbal notice given to Judge Bacon, with not enough time for shift coverage. And I'm not going to read the rest of it, but we've been asked to remove James Gatto as a court officer. So do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion so carried. And then we've been asked to hire Denise Rios. She's an OCA trained New York City court officer with 9 years experience currently assigned to the Dutchess County Family Court. Officer Rios has been interviewed and seems to be an excellent fit and is available to work both courts at night. She has a county application, and we've been asked to approve her so she can start immediately. So do I have a motion to accept,
And did you have a pay rate in there, or just at the,
Yes.
we have a standard rate?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, just if you just added standard
Right.
rate
Sure.
of court officer.
Okay, so you make the motion?
Yes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion so carried. Let me just see if,
Very quickly, fire district meeting on the 14th in this building at 7 PM.
okay.
Just wanted to make sure we mentioned that.
I think the only other last thing is, it's Parkinson's, I'm writing on behalf of, this is from Addie Haas, I'm writing on behalf of the Parkinson's disease.
But I don't think it's in this building, though.
It's in
Is that Village Hall, isn't it?
Can't be here, we have,
I'm sorry, you're right. It was moved to Village Hall.
There's a planning board meeting here.
I'm writing on behalf of the
CBA.
Parkinson's Disease Support Group of the Mid-Hudson Valley, which I remember. We again respectfully request that you join the U.S. Senate as you declare April Worldwide Parkinson's Disease Awareness Month. I've attached a proclamation template which you can fill in or copy on your own document, sign and choose and affix your seal. Last year, 32 Hudson Valley municipalities and the New York State Senate issued a similar proclamation for 2014, and we're being asked to join in declaring Parkinson's Awareness Month. So I would like to move that. Do I have a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion so carried. Okay, so the only other thing to do before we go into executive session is just one budget modification for the highway department to account for reimbursement of fuel usage to the highway department. So we're increasing DB 980-2801-0, which is the interfund revenues of $1,877.17, and then increasing DB 522-5142.4 for the garage CE of $1,877.17.
So moved.
Do I have a
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion so carried. Rosanna, did Arlene give you a copy? Because I
Yeah.
told her to start giving you a copy, so
Yeah.
if you don't get the numbers right and stuff.
I
Okay, terrific. Okay, so with that, I think that's all of the work. I think we've taken care of everything. So what I need to do is I need a motion to go into executive session for the purposes of discussing discipline action in the highway department and discipline action in our court. Do
So moved?
you have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion so carried.